Hello viewers, this is Say-La-Vee and welcome back to our All the Mod 6 Let's Play series, episode 27. Alright, so it's been a little bit since we ran over to the board, so let's look at what I've been doing with my downtime between some recording sessions. We've got a few things to cover here on the list. So first, let's go and check out what we've got going on over at the bio setup. So not only have we fixed the bone generation, we've also upgraded the bio generation. We've also energized some experience over there. So let's run real quick. It's not necessarily the quickest flight, but we will. Wow, thumb hitting the wrong buttons. Okay, so I just did a bunch of this right before I started recording, but we've got some things in the works here. So part of our to-do list, which we'll get into some more further, is I want to get into pressurized here soon, pneumatic craft repressurized, because I would like to be able to get botany pots a lot easier, so then we can actually duplicate this further. But to show you what we've done for upgrades, we've added 5 more bio generators. I put an iron upgrade in this drawer, so we're holding 8192 over here. We're up to 3640 RF per tick, and then over here we've got 66,000 hanging out in storage. I remembered that seeds work. So like, we don't need to just be yeeting all of our seeds into the void. And all these were full, like completely full of seeds. They weren't picking up wheat anymore, so I had to do something about it. So we've got another thing over here that's distributing into from the 8 chests wheat seed, and then sending wheat seed into its own crushing factory over here. 1 seed turns into 2 biomass, as you can see right there, or biofuel. And then these are still doing the 7. So we've actually got a buildup of 1,300 hay bales over here because we switched the upgrades over here. So we cut this in half. There's only 4 in here, which I think honestly we could probably uninstall 2 of those and 2 of those and put them back over in here. Just real quick, like, because this is our bigger production. We don't need this as much. I'm fine if this fills up a little bit. We will obviously fix the upgrades in this here soon, but we've got this set up so where we can this is distributing the bone meal to these 2. We just need the botany pots. Another thing over here is we've got I found out through fixing our gas production, which we'll go look at here in a moment, that there's this evaporation generator that will turn certain fluids into energy. So this energy, we're just producing 80 RF a tick for free over here. Not that that's a crazy amount of RF. We could definitely get more out of this. But I realized that we were gathering a huge amount of experience over there. So what I did was add a fluid trash can over here. So this is dumping into the trash can. This one is prioritizing the tank because that's all it can go to. And then we're actually pulling out of this tank into the evaporation generator to create 80,000 RF per tick, or 80,000 RF per minute, I think it does. So that's pretty cool. I also added another blaze rod to our spawner to get another row back there. We expanded backwards, so we've got more spawning space for more skeletons. We've boosted this up to have 10 looting upgrades and 5 beheading upgrades from the, I think, what was there, 7 in here and 2 of these, so or 3, so we upgraded just a little bit there. But that is what we have going on over in this section of the world. We've got some more power on the way. Activate our hover real quick, go back over to our board and look at the next thing. So I do think the next thing is to run over to the quarry. So let's punch that in. Sorry for the flashing, but let's go. Oh, give me back my AE system. Okay, so This Quarry, a lot of the reason why I did what I did off camera was to let this run. So this completely finished. We have finally ored out this portion of the world, and I already have over here set up a border. So if we do F3G, we are just inside this chunk, and then directly over, this is a 2x2, and now we're in a 3x3. We're in this very corner with that marker, and this very corner with this marker. So if we right click that, we've got this next area that we're going to be mining out. I also went ahead and upgraded I did some testing in my testing world to make sure that we could afford it, and we can actually pump out an efficiency 5 Quarry. So I wanted to be with you guys together when we placed this down, but the problem is that for a little bit, we are going to be only putting into this trash can. So we're going to want to break these, get our Quarry placed down. That's going to very quickly run through that. And I also realized our markers do actually get saved. They get picked up by it. So we've got 2 sets of markers in here when I made the second set. So, okay. So this is closest. So I will set up this filter here eventually. I think for right now though, I don't want to do this. You know, I will. I'm going to pause the video real quick and I'll bring you guys back when we're at the board. But yay, new Quarry's been set up. Alright, so we're back here at the board. Just wanted to show you next, the Flux network has been named. So every single node, which I've got another story about that, but every single node that we have in our thing now is labeled as something. So if we go to network connections, we can scroll down through this list and actually tell, okay, so this is the Flux controller. Now all these flux points, yeah, they're all flux points. Where do they go? So we know that our main AE system is drawing 1179. We know that the Emerald AE system is drawing 45. We know that the BioCrusher setup is drawing 44. We know that we're getting network in from the battery at 42 on average. So, you know, you get to see and look at all this stuff and you can just tell what it is at a glance. We can also do the same thing over here on battery because we've named all of this. So we've got the biogenerators inputting a flashing 3300. We've got 300 even from the waterfalls down south, which this is really nice because now we can tell what exactly we're getting from 4 water wheel setups, which is only 300 FE per tick. The windmills up top, we're getting 1600 flat in. I thought we were getting more than that. I've definitely something to check out there. It might be the limitation of the battery. We'll find out. But either way, we'll get to there. The experience of the skeletons, like I said, we're getting an influx of 80 from that one thing, and then the water wheels up top include the solar panels over there. And then the other thing that was on that board is we have a magenta gray magenta ender chest system that is being input directly from our Quarry into a huge backlog of chests here. So I just added these 3 right before I started recording again. But we do have a whole bunch. We're building up iron. We've got loads of copper, loads of freaking lead and osmium and tin, and we got Certus quartz like nobody's business. We got charged Certus quartz even because we have that 64 diamond ore. That's crazy. You know, we've got lots of stuff that we can sort through here. This is even collecting draconium. The only thing it doesn't collect is all the modium, which is cool because then I can just, apparently all the modium spawns in that dimension, which I wasn't aware of. We got, I think, total like 7 pieces of ore, which turned into, I think almost all of them tripled. So we ended up with like half a stack almost of all the modium to add into our system there. So the final thing that we need to cover that I fixed finally was the gas system. So you can probably notice that the spider web of machine is gone from over here. So if we replace that real quick with our compact machine, we can see that we've got some changes in here. So I want to start getting ready, as we can see here in our to-do list. I would like to move into our pocket. Pretty soon I want to start adding machines and everything in here, so we can do this right here. We can automate our machines using our AE system locally in this place. So if we need to do anything on the fly, we don't need to fly back to that platform, and we can just live in this one brick. So these are just the extra pipes and things from the redesign that aren't needed because I moved it. So if we go up here to the top floor, this is where we've moved our network batteries to. And then over here we have our complete setup that is independently running. And I will walk you through it real quick. So in the back here, we've got a sink, which is outputting water infinitely to an electrolytic separator, which is breaking that water down from H2O into hydrogen and oxygen. And it's also putting water into this pressurized reaction chamber, which uses water and the hydrogen we're creating from over there and some biofuel to make something else, which is the sulfate. So after this breaks the hydrogen and the oxygen apart, the hydrogen goes over into this tank, which we currently have 64 buckets of. And then over here, we've got oxygen, which we've got 32 buckets of. That is outputting into a pressurized reaction chamber, which this is step 2 in the system, or I guess not step 2, but a little bit further down the line. So this is breaking down into sulfate. 2 biofuel creates 1 sulfate, and then some ethanol, I think is what it's called. Yeah, ethylene. So this is going into ethylene. It's outputting and going over here into this rotary condensator, which is turning into liquid ethylene, which is being pumped out into this pressurized reaction chamber where the liquid ethylene and the oxygen react with the sulfate to create HDPE, which, in case you forgot, is what we needed to make the module base. So we finally have that piece of the puzzle. And if we go down here to our improbable probability device, we are missing 3 things still. So we need to start on a 64 million or whatever storage component, 16 million storage component, which we'll dig into that recipe eventually. We also need to make the draconic reaction core with all this draconic evolution crafting, which we're going to have to dive into. And then we've got finally up here the solar recharging unit. So if we want to craft one of these, we can see that we have the 4 atomic or reinforced alloys. We have the module base crafted, and I also went ahead and made us a advanced solar generator, which I don't think it really tells us how much that produces energy-wise without putting it down in the world, but this wasn't too bad. So we have everything but polonium. So how do we get polonium pellets? Okay, well, we need the pressurized reaction chamber, which we already have a couple of those, so we know how easy those are to make, to mix fluorite and polonium, and then this will work with just water. So fluorite, how do we get that? I don't know what any of that means. Oh, look at that. We can crush fluorite using the crusher into fluorite dust. So going back here, now we need polonium. Polonium is transferred in the solar neutron activator. 10 millibuckets of nuclear waste equals 1 millibucket of polonium. That's intimidating. How do we get nuclear waste? Oh, well, you guessed it. We've got to build a nuclear generator, I guess, out of a multi-block structure. This is going to intake some sort of liquid, which we're going to use water, and fissile fuel, and that will output steam at 20 buckets and 1 millibucket of nuclear waste. Fissile fuel is reprocessed fissile fragments using the chemical oxidizer or the isotopic centrifuge, which turns uranium hexafluoride into fissile fuel. So uranium hexafluoride is hydrofluoric acid and uranium oxide together. Well, how do we get hydrofluoric acid? Well, I don't want to do this right now. It's a lot. So we'll get there eventually, but we've got some other things that we can do in the meantime. One of which being the Patrick Star. So in our to-do list, let's break this up into things that we can do. So the Quarry, we just did. Let's remove that. Move into Pocket and automate machines are 2 things that I want to do in combination. Pressurized and easier botany pots we're going to do together. The dimensional seed is a conversation that I want to have real quick with everybody, but it is separate from the nuclear waste and improbability device. The Create and Patrick Star, I guess, we will Control X that onto its own page. Okay, so create and the Patrick star. So if we go into our thing here and we look at the creative tab, I was scrolling down through here and looking at things that we can work on as we're waiting for the improbability device, because we need that nuclear stuff, and that's going to come way later down the line. And I want to build a little bit more infrastructure before we dive into something intense as building a nuclear reactor. So I thought, okay, well, let's go back up the chain this direction, which, in case you didn't realize, we've already kind of thought about this before, because we need that 5 times compressed block of emerald. Well, we also need a 6 compressed block of stone, a block of 4 times compressed endstone, 4 times netherrack, 4 times sill sand, 3 times obsidian, 4 times snow, 4 times red sand, and 3 times clay. Okay, let's run into our AE system real quick here. If we go to emerald, how close are we to having one of these? We need 531,000 emeralds. Oh, well, we've got an automated emerald generation system going on over here. Let's just go see how many we've got here. 7,300. I don't know if you know how to do math, but let me just put this into perspective for you. We're not there yet. Long story short. So, since I just burst your bubble with that really overbearing information, we've got a lot of work to do. And that obviously means that we're going to need to wicked expand this setup. So if we want to get anywhere near that, we're either going to have to find a way to mine a boatload of emeralds, find a new way to generate emeralds, or take this setup here that works and duplicate it through the moon. Kind of like what we did over on the other side with the... what am I thinking of? With the wheat, okay? So we've got a build-up going here, which I think if we turn this off, it will catch up, actually. Okay, yeah, so not too bad there. This AE system is just vibing out. I mean, emeralds are just hanging out in here. This is full. We're sorting out everything that is like an armor item of some sort into our wall of trash cans in the back, if you remember. But we're up to 197,000 bone meal, which is a lot of bone meal, in case you were wondering. So that combined with the bone meal we've got over there, we've got a lot of bone meal. We're not going to really need to worry about making that anytime soon. What we are going to need to worry about, however, is our ability to generate these resources. So again, we're probably going to have to dig into something a little bit further, but I don't have the time necessarily right now to try and worry about what that is going to look like. So that leads me to this point here, the Patrick star. The Patrick star is going to come from mechanical crafting. So we need 55 of these mechanical crafters from the Create mod, which the Create mod I've toyed with just a little bit in some other mod packs. This actually isn't that bad of a recipe. The only thing we need to worry about are all these different colors and their very specific placements on this 55-star grid, and we have to make sure that they're all connected the proper way and that they're facing the right directions and that everything's going to go together how it should. That being said, I don't think it's going to be too bad to make this, and it's one more creative item that we need out of the way. So I think that the next step, logistically, would be to go into the Create mod and get ourselves our Patrick star. I know we've done a bit of recap today, or so far in today's episode, but I would like to start working on actually getting there, because that's not going to require us to jump into repressurized yet. It's not going to require us to jump into rebuilding the emerald generation, and it's also not going to require us to jump into any further automation that we haven't done already. So while it would be nice to get into moving into our machines, just let me know down in the comment section below, guys. But after this episode, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Anyway, a small plug to the channel. If you make it here Throw down in the comment section if you want to watch me move on camera, and then we can move all this together. The best part about the AE system that we have currently is that we won't have to remove any of this in order to get it set up in our pocket dimension, because we are using the singularity over here to have it link wirelessly into here. So we could just run cabling up through the floor. All right, so that connects. Perfect. So now all we need to do is just connect to that main cable that runs down. Oh, we got a prosperity chart. All right, yeah, so we've got AE system all the way up to the roof here, and we can branch off of that as we please. But since we are connected to the system, we don't need to worry about what this is going to look like when we want to start moving in here. So I guess this was a long way of just saying that I don't necessarily want to move right now. But if you want to see it on camera, please just let me know. So moving into what we want to do, we need to start digging into just a little bit the create mod. So the mechanical crafter is something that we're probably going to want to set up a system for. So cogwheels are buttons and andesite alloy. So if we go down here, we're going to want to take planks, make a button recipe. Okay, put that right there. Let's go down here, actually. This will be our create section. So after that, we are going to need the cogwheel. So in order to do that, we need, looks like iron nuggets and andesite. So we'll create a recipe for that. Put it over here. Do we have a recipe already for iron nuggets? I don't think so. So let's put that there. We've got our alloy. Okay. The cogwheel. Let's make a recipe for that. Put the cogwheel recipe right there. We're also going to need these brass casings. So brass sheets, logs, and planks. Going to create that with spruce. We are going to need a recipe for these brass sheets. So we're going to need brass ingots and an engineer's hammer. We're going to do that, and we are going to enable substitutions for that because we're going to want to be able to use damaged hammers. The brass ingot looks like it's going to take from here. So crushed brass. Okay, there's got to be a better way to make this. Energized smelter. So we do actually have to get into mixing. We need to heat it. There's no other way. Other than like brass nuggets, but I think we can assume that. Yep. So it looks like we're gonna have to get into crushed brass here, which is the mixer. So going back real quick, electron tube, how bad is this? So let's get a recipe for the electron tube, the polished rose quartz, enrichment chamber, rose quartz, sandpaper polishing rose quartz. How do we make this? Okay, so we need some of that. So let's go over here back. Going to need that. Going to need the brass sheets. Going to need the casings and the electron tubes. So what else do we need to get into this? So the brass casing looks like that. The brass sheet we have already seen. Do we already have a recipe for engineer's hammers? I don't think so. No, okay. So let's put that right there. Actually, we'll put it right there. Yeah, it smells good to me. Okay. So the mechanical crafter, stop typing the letter E. The mechanical crafter is going to need a recipe. Oh, that makes 3 of them. Okay. So we'll put that in there. We're also going to need at create. So I'm pretty sure in the create mod, there's a way to generate power, I guess, whatever this mod's power is, there's a way to create it by just using RF. So we need to find where that generator is. Sequence gear shifter, no. I don't remember what it looks like. I don't even actually know if it's in this version. Electric motor. Electric motors are compact and configurable. Panel RPM. Okay. Source of energy FE. Okay, so we need an electric motor. Consumption set by that. All right, perfect. So yeah, so we need this recipe here. Ooh, that's not what I was thinking it was going to be. But anyway, we get to see more things that we're going to want. So create capacitor. All right, so the capacitor is going to take a little bit of stuff here. So zinc sheet, copper plate. Let's go with this recipe, I guess. The zinc iron plate is good there. Here we need the zinc sheet. We need the copper plate. We need an iron rod. Let's put all this stuff away for now. Another sheet, another sheet, another sheet. Another capacitor. Put that up there. The encoded pattern, that's the iron rods. I don't think we have a recipe for that yet. Nope. Okay. So iron rods are done. Copper spool. We're going to need copper wire and an empty spool. Make 16 of those. Okay, crazy. Okay, get one of those. We also need a recipe for this. So copper plate and the engineer's wire cutters. We will allow substitutions because we're going to want one of these. We'll leave substitutions on for that one. Why not? Go down here. Put the cutters right there where they go. Put the wire there. Actually, we're going to put the wire up here because it kind of goes with all that stuff. Create. Move that stuff there. Okay, okay, okay. Andesite alloy we've already taken care of, and brass sheets we already have a recipe for. All right, so it looks like we're going to have a lot to get into here. So, in order to get to this point, we're going to need some sort of creation before that, which I think there's like a mechanical lever. Yeah, there's a hand crank here. How do we make a hand crank? So the hand crank requires a shaft. That's another thing that we're going to need. That's an important recipe for this mod. Okay. Boom. All right. The shaft, the hand crank. Can I make any of this yet? All right. You know what we could do actually? We could make a recipe for the hand crank, and then it will just do this for us. Crank, craft, 1, boom, crank. Okay, and now we need shaft. We got 7 of those. We're going to need some cogs. Cog. Let's get 12 of those. And 12 of the big ones. It's going to make 16, it looks like. That makes 2 at a time, so that will actually make that. Okay. So now, we can't make the mechanical crafter. Not just yet. I want to add the electric motor here into our thing over there so we remember it. The rolling mill. Not quite sure what that does. Okay. Now, what is it that we need first? So we need the mixer, mechanical mixer right there. So close that out. The mechanical mixer, I lost it because everything shifted around. It's up here. Going to need that recipe. We need I just removed that. Hold on, gang. Where'd it go? Mechanical mixer. Recipe for that. Boom, there we go. Okay, so there's those two recipes. For this, we are going to also need a whisk, which is going to be some more things there. Put those casings just right on top of each other because it looks neat. Perfect. Yeah, cool. Not that any of this matters at all, how this is located. I just like to make it look all right. Okay, so we have got everything set up so far, recipe-wise, to get into the mechanical mixer. Okay, got a mixer. So, put the oh boy. We're going to need some blocks to build off of, I do think. Okay. So, mixer. Right there in the center. Awesome. Cogwheel. Do that. We're going to want, I think, a large cog on top of this one. I don't think that's duplicating power at all. I think if this is the other way around, we'll create some more rotational power, I think. Because, I mean, science-wise, that makes sense, right? Yeah, because the big one turns the smaller one faster. All right, cool. So we are going to need a basin, I think. So let's get a recipe for that. Shove this in here. Get ourselves a basin. Boom. Okay. Like that. Apparently there's a recipe filter. So we need what to make the brass? Crushed gold, crushed brass right there. Mixing. We need crushed zinc and crushed copper, which we can mill the ore. So now the question is, how do we make a mill? Let's go down here. Let's delete this. Let's get the millstone. Let's create a recipe for that. These are all things that are in our system currently. Boom. Mill, craft, next, boom. Okay, let's go over here to our ore. Get out of here. We'll go sleepy real quick. I know that this episode's getting a little bit long and we haven't really done much, but I would like to at least finish up. I want to get to brass. Okay. All right. So, like I was saying, over here, we're going to throw 3 of those in there. Overstressed. So apparently we can't run both of those at the same time. But we're creating our crushed stuff. So let me get this taken care of, and then I'll be back with you guys, and then hopefully we'll be ready to end the episode. Okay, so we got the tin and the copper crushed up, and I shoved them down in there in the basin. I guess I thought would watch something happen here. Maybe not, though. Oh boy. Let's ponder this real quick. A mixer and basin. 2 things. Shove them down in there. I don't know why this isn't working. Well, I guess we got some things to learn now, don't we? Alright, so just gonna come out and say it. The recording that's leading up to this point, I did very late last night, and I've done a little bit of work here as I was eating dinner now that I'm recording the next day. And boy, some things are silly. So first off, let's collect this together. There we go. So I just wanted to show you guys that this Quarry has finished in the time that it took me to make my dinner and eat it. So I just wanted to swing over to this world and show you, and then show you how you can see all the modium and collect it when you're done. Set it up to grind. 1 ore turns into 2. Sometimes if we're lucky, it turns into more than that. But so you might know, you might have noticed, I'm not sure, based off of how dumb I felt when I started making this, but I thought that this wasn't spinning fast enough, and that's why the recipe wasn't working. So I jumped back into the world today. I started trying to figure out what was going on there and what we needed to do to fix it. And then when I tried to make it spin faster, the hand crank was overstressed, so we needed to change it. So I decided to build us a water wheel on the back of this stone wall that we had created, and then realized that it was still turning way too slow. So I did this whole gearbox thing to get it to speed up, and then moved it over here, and then set it down, and it still didn't work. And then I said, okay, so now what? I'm clearly doing something with the recipe that's wrong. And then I realized that it needed to be heated. So then I had to figure out how to make a blaze burner. So you take an empty blaze burner, which is just 2 iron plates and some iron bars, nothing crazy. And then you go to the end, or the nether, sorry. You go to the nether and you right click it on a blaze and you pick up a blaze with it. And then boom, we've got a blaze now. So what we have to do is we have to feed this thing burnable fuel. So I was just feeding it coal for the meantime. I wanted to see if you could put a hopper on it and feed it directly with a hopper, but you actually have to do it by hand unless it's unique to create. And then it still wasn't working. I said, oh, well, geez, what's going on with our recipe? Why isn't it working? So I looked at Wander or Ponder or whatever the system is. Ponder, yep. So I watched the Ponder over and over and over and over and over again, and then realized, okay, well, this thing is different than mine because it has like a chute on the side of it. So how do I do that? So I watched the Ponder for the basin, and we needed a create output of some kind, whether that was a conveyor belt or I made this depot. So the depot is just 1 andesite casing and 1 andesite alloy, so nothing too crazy. And then when I put it next to it, it started to work, and then it still wouldn't work. So, or well, it activated this and then it still wouldn't work. I said, okay, so now what am I doing wrong? This is tin. Okay. Brass is made with copper and zinc. So it wasn't working last night because I was using the wrong recipe. Guys, come on. You couldn't have said something sooner? I thought all day about this at work, trying to figure out what was going on with this and why it didn't work. But here we are. It's just because I had the wrong recipe. You guys led me down the wrong path. But whatever. I won't hold it against you. So we'll throw this in here. We'll finally get our first bits of brass. We might as well just cook up this tin that we had as well. All right, that's at 6, boom. So over here, let's see how that quarry turned out. Okay, look at that. Lots of materials. So we've got a whole lot of iron now. Definitely don't need to worry about iron as much. We are going to set up an automatic smelting system inside our little pocket dimension, so don't worry about that. Now, the electric motor. Brass sheets. So brass sheets come from the hammer. So we got to do hammer. Boom. We need how many? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put those back up in there. And then we are going to need these copper spools. So actually, now that I realize it, we're we're going to need a lot more of these before we need anything else. So let's make the 12 of those that we're going to want. And we're going to have to make some mechanical crafters. So an electron tube is going to take an enrichment chamber with rose quartz. So we go back here. We could just go to tube, I believe. Yeah, all right. Let's make 6 of these. I don't have the recipe for that. Okay. So we need rose quartz. So let's get 6 of those. Go over here to the enriching factory. Whoa. What is going on here? Oh, it's because there's speed upgrades but no energy upgrades. I guess I messed that up a little while ago and completely forgot about it. But anyway, back in here, put that away and that away. And we need these. Just make 6 of them for now. We need a crafting table. And we need mechanical crafters. So now we need more crafting tables. How many planks do we have? Let's just make a stack. Oh my god. There we go. Put that wood in the system. Should be all right for a little bit now. Okay, and boom. All right, we got 6 of them. Wait, what? Oh, there we go, 18. Okay, we're gonna need 55 of these when this is all said and done. So let's see if we can't get the electric motor today. So we need 5 across and then 1, just like that. All right, perfect. So that's overstressed. So that means that we're going to have to expand this. So let me expand this real quick, make more power, and I will be back with you. All right, so some research has been done, and I think we are ready to do our first crafting recipe here. So let's double check this recipe. So it's the plates on the outside, or the sheets, then the spools, the capacitor, the rod, and the alloy. So sheets, spools, rod, capacitor, alloy. And now we had to upgrade this. There's 4 wheels now. And this should redstone motor. So now this machine here, when provided power, we're lucky, overstressed. Okay, so this is not going to create a lot of stress. Or it's not going to create a lot of power. So I guess maybe that wasn't the best solution. But anyway, we have an electric motor now. So I wonder if there's anything we can do. Compact configurable source of rotational power. Scrolling. Give you the RPM. Requires a source of FE. Motor's energy consumption is determined by the RPM. Is there a way to increase the amount of stress that this is capable of? Probably not. We might just have to build an ever-growing water farm, but that's fine. It's not too bad. But either way, I do think with how this recording is going, we're almost at 50 minutes of recording. So I have some editing to do, and we have a more productive episode to get to in the future. So looking at our to-do list, let's just kind of combine our inventory real quick. So what do we have in here that we have accomplished? We haven't done any of that except for create. So, awesome. We have done something. We have learned the basics of create. I clearly have a lot of playing around to do. We're going to need to set up a better situation for this. So what I think I might do is I'm going to build another platform possibly, because we do want to have more platforms around here. This is just kind of our main testing one. So I think over there, maybe, we might build our Create platform, and I will build something that is capable of withstanding 55 mechanical builders, or mechanical crafters, or whatever these are called, mechanical crafters. So I want to thank all of you for sticking around this long. If you did, hopefully the video is not 40 minutes long, but if it is, hey, I hope you enjoyed all 40 minutes of my rambling and our fun that we have here on this world. It's nice to see that some more people are joining us. We've had a couple of subscribers from that last episode, so welcome, guys. Welcome to the viewer squad. We don't have a name for our people yet, but eventually the viewers will have a name. So other than that, guys, thank you again so much for being here. I hope that you have a good night, or good morning, or a good evening, or a good afternoon, or just a good day in general, whatever it is for you. This is Say-La-Vee, and bye-bye.